everyone. Good morning to everybody in Payson and on YouTube. We'll start this meeting, regular meeting, Tuesday, November 3rd, and it is just a couple minutes after 10. So we'll start with Adam, would you lead us in the pledge, and then James will do us the invocation, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our kind and merciful Heavenly Father, we bow our heads before Thee this day. We have gratitude in our hearts for the bounteous blessings Thou hast bestowed upon us. We have much to be thankful for. We recognize Thy hand in all things, and all things that bless us and are around us, the good people that are around us, the blessings of safety and happiness and joy. Heavenly Father, at the same time, there are many that are suffering, have need of Thy blessings. And we know that through us, Thy children, that we are the ones that are to serve others and to help others in their time of need. May we be able to recognize those that are in need, be able to recognize the part that we can play in blessing the lives of others. Heavenly Father, this is a great day for our nation, for the United States of America, that we have the opportunity to participate in an election for offices at all levels of government throughout the country. We pray, Father, that everyone will take the opportunity of their constitutional rights to vote and to express their opinion, to express their right to vote. We pray that those that do vote may use wisdom in their voting, such that those that have the most direct and most clear picture of moving government forward can use the wisdom and being able to make their decisions. And Father, we pray that the good things may be able to be supported and addressed, to be able to continue to move forward in all that we do. And Heavenly Father, we do pray for our land here in Gila County, that it needs moisture to overcome the fires. We pray that it may be in moderation so that there will not be flooding on the burn scars. And Father, we pray that those that are suffering from COVID and the loneliness and things that have come from that they might be blessed, full of Thy Spirit, full of Thy love. With Thou be with us this day in this board meeting. We're grateful that we have the opportunity to meet and come together, make these decisions, and pray that the board will be able to make the best decisions for those that are involved. This we do ask in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, James. Okay, so we'll start this with presentations. It will be 2A, presentation of information on the University of Arizona's Cooperative Extension, Forest Health, and Horticulture programs. Chris? Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Chairman Woody
How are you?
Klein. Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here with you all, honorable supervisors, Supervisor Humphrey and Tommy Martin, Woody Klein. I would like to see if we can get my slides up here. Here we go. Just want to take this opportunity. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to share with you a program update, some of the things that I think that are just kind of the highlights of my program area. Next slide. Oh, yes, I can be doing that. Okay. I focus on agriculture, natural resource type of programs. Most appropriate for myself and for Gila County is dealing with forest health issues. Here in southern Gila County, we have a watershed partnership, and I'm also focusing in on wildland-urban interface issues, as we've seen become a much larger issue here in southern Gila County than we've ever seen before, but always been dealing with that up in the Payson and Rim Country area. And the horticulture program. I teach master gardener classes, and through the community college, I've had a good relationship with the community college to offer those classes. I've had volunteers, and right now I have an active program in Payson. And also, I do quite a bit of clientele support. I get phone calls from throughout the county and emails throughout the state, and just try to help people answer questions. What kind of bug is this? What can we do about it? That type of thing. So we are going through the COVID-19 pandemic, and when we started to do our work from home, I was like, what am I going to be doing? And so I came up with an idea for a weekly webinar, and I call it Garden and Country Extension Webinar Series. So this has been going on since May. I've been doing these webinars every Thursday at 11, and it has been received very well. I'm very pleased with Paul Wolterbeek's support in helping me to share this information in the community through Facebook page and the newspapers. This Thursday, I'm going to have Dr. Mary Lata, the fire ecologist from Tono National Forest, talk about the Woodbury Fire Ecology Report. We know that was a couple years ago, but it's done, and it's going to have the same type of management implications that we're seeing with the Griffin salt and the bushfires we had this year. It's also given me an opportunity to just focus in on some of the things that we do in the county and other types of issues. But for example, Payson has a new fire-adapted community town code. Had Kevin McCulley on twice. Kim Stone is retired, but he's just a great organic gardener, and he gave a presentation for winter gardening, and I just gave it so simple. I've got mine started now too. And I've had Jake Garrett talk about how to take care of your septic tank health. That was one of my best attended programs. People are like, I got to know about my septic tank. So it's just great to be able to do these things with the county, and as well as feature some of my colleagues on campus. The Cobra Valley Watershed Partnership, we are holding a forum next week, the 12th through the 13th. The theme is Healthy Forest, Healthy Watershed. And we're going to be really focusing in on more efforts in the wildland-urban interface through this event. We just had these wildfires this year, the grasses that are growing this year, that I want to use this as an opportunity to get together with our fire departments. I've been interacting with Carl Melford with Emergency Service Management, and see what more we can do to help protect our community from wildfires down here. This has been a great program with our Water Resources Research Center on campus, and interacting and having a great partnership with our cities, Globe in Miami, all the mining companies in town, just kind of a wide partnership, all of us concerned about water and the watershed. So really appreciate your support of these events and when you're able to participate. I've been asking to see if you could present with me here, and I know that you're all busy, so I'll be reaching out and seeing if I can get the county to participate with them. Another thing in that package that I gave you is the focus group study report, the final report for a research project I've been doing with USDA National Institute for Food and Agriculture grant, partnering with New Mexico State University, that was awarded a few years ago for about $114,000. With that, I taught a pilot course on climate science in Payson and Globe. It's kind of a way we may be able to do this. It was very interesting. It was a great opportunity. And, we held focus groups in Globe and Payson. The Globe one was actually earlier in the spring. And please take a look at this report. The people that participated in it, gave me more ideas than I'm going to be able to tackle, but just great stuff on ways that we can be doing extension in Gila County. I can share it with my colleagues across the nation. And I'm going to be taking this to the printers this week, so take a look at it. Let me know if we need to make any changes. I've been teaching the master gardening classes with the community college as I've described, both in here in Globe and in Payson. I've done this in Miami in the past as well with the Bullion Plaza. And just a couple of things that I want to share going on here. This is a meeting of our Master Gardener group up in Payson. It's kind of a small group, but very active with Rich Johnson here. He also helps to lead the country, the gardening club up there. We, with their group, we helped to redesign and put in this garden at the community college. Here's our little sign that actually has our logo on it. Just what are xeriscape type of plants that grow well there that people can put in and have an easy time with. Another thing is this grafting project. There's an apple orchard in downtown Payson that was just kind of growing because Dave Owens, the garden guy, got this started, and it just kind of fell back for a bit. And they talked to us, and with Glenn McCombs and some colleagues, we went out there, grafted some trees from the Owens Ranch, and were very successful. So we had about 63% of the grafts we put in take, and I'm working with Paul to get a nice article in the newspaper about this and see if we can get some more heritage apples to put into that orchard to help preserve that heritage. And this one in the middle here is how I'm doing the class. They've got me in the computer room. I'm talking with people who show up. We're wearing our masks, but also through the Zoom. So if you can see that little picture, that's me giving that class, just a screenshot. And finally, I want to finish up with some projects and clientele support I do. I've been helping with the Pine Trailhead effort up there with the Firewise plants that they put in. That's me out hiking with Janet Brandt. Supervisor Humphrey has called me in to participate with the compost project at the landfill. I had Kenny Keith speak on that one of the webinars a couple weeks ago. Really hope we can do this. We've got limited landfill space. If we're able to make better use of our carbon, then it isn't just trash. It's something useful. And finally, this is Terry Vesci of the Pine Creek Lavender Farm. Had her present, and she asked me to help her with a certification with Certified Naturally Grown program. And if Neil Jensen looked at that, and he's interested in a lavender project in Miami Gardens as well. So we got together with a colleague of mine who knows irrigation well and gave him some advice. So, you know, just that's the type of things I'm up to. One other thing in your handout I don't have on there is a poster that I put together in 2019. This is a 3x5 poster in front of the Payson Library. I've got one in Pine. Maybe we can get some more big ones out there, but it's really focused on how to protect your home from embers, which is the largest reason why homes burn in a wildfire. And I'm going to finish right there and open up for questions. And again, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Chris. Tommy, do you have any questions for Chris?
No questions, Mr. Chair, but Chris, I sure appreciate the information and all the work you're putting into all the various areas. Thank you much.
Thank you very much.
Tim?
Yeah, Chris, other than thank you very much for all that you do and the information that you bring to the county. Thank you very much, and I will get back with you today on speaking on the 13th for your program. So yeah, I'm working with a schedule, so I'll get back with you today. But thank you very much for all of the information that you've helped us with.
Well, I appreciate it. As many of you know, this has been my home for the past 21 years. My kids have all graduated from Globe High School. They're all in college now, so this is my home. So thank you.
You bet.
Chris, thanks for everything you guys do, and by all means, if whatever we can do to help, I'm sure we will. So just give us a holler. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend the 12th or the 13th, but good luck to you on those days, and any other days, give me a holler.
Thank you very much. We've got about 50 people signed up, and
Good.
we're looking forward to the breakouts.
Good.
Those work very well on Zoom, actually. So
Yeah.
it'll be fun.
You bet.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, going on to 2B, presentation regarding the Gila County financial data as of September 30th, 2020, as it compares to the fiscal year 2021 Gila County budget and fiscal year 2020 year-to-date performance. Maren? Good morning, Maren.
Well, good morning. How are you, Mr. Chairman? Good morning, Supervisor Humphrey. Good morning, Supervisor Martin. So this is the annual ugly report that nobody wants to stand up here and give, and you guys certainly don't want to hear. But since we committed to presenting, we are here with your first quarter, the first 3 months of 2021, expenditure and revenue compared to 2021 fiscal year budget. We'll start with what looks like bad news all the way over on the right-hand side. Your revenue, the red bar, shows that we are just a hair under 10% of revenue for the year-to-date. That is expected, and it is better than last year. So that all of our constituents and all of our electeds are aware, because property taxes come in twice a year, we run below budget on revenue for the first 3, 4, maybe even to 5 months into the year, depending on how fast things get posted down in finance. But we are at 9.92% of revenue year to date, and we are $384,000 higher in revenue compared to last year. And as you can see from the little purple bar, last year's revenue is a smidge below where we are this year. And then attached to the packet, and also the other attachment to this agenda item, if anyone's looking at it online, you can see that our vehicle license taxes are at 32% of budget, which is ahead of the 25% target for 1 quarter. Our county excise tax, so that's our county sales tax, is at 33% of budget, which is also ahead of your 25% year-to-date target. Our state shared sales, because they lag about 6 weeks behind, are only at 14% right now. But overall, we are performing stronger than last year in our revenues. And the attachment, this is narrative there, has that information for you all so that you can see it month to month. And then back on the bar chart, thank you, Dave. Back on the bar chart, our expenditures are actually doing better both than last year and better than budget, which is good news for all of us. Salaries and employee-related expenditures are both below target at 18 and 19% respectively. That is the first set of bar graphs over there on the left. The red bar shows you 2021 year-to-date salaries and EREs at a total of 18% compared to 19% last year and 25% year-to-date target. And those, because our largest expense is our staffing, those do comprise 69.92% of year-to-date expenditures. When we come to the next set of bars for our operating expenditures, we are at 23% of target, 23% of year-to-date budget, which is below the 25% target. Overall, when we combine those two in the third set of bars, our combined salaries and EREs and operating expenses are at 21% of budget, which is below the 25% year-to-date target. What that means in day-to-day numbers is that we are $1.17 million below last year's year-to-date expenses, and that's pretty awesome. If in the first quarter of the year, your department heads and your leadership team have saved you over $1 million just by following the standards that we set forward in the plans that we have here at Gila County to be responsible and good stewards of our resources. So that is the big takeaway from this. $1.17 million saved in 3 months and having $384,000 more revenue this year than last gives you a nice positive to the bottom line.
That is good news. Thank you, department heads, everybody. That's a good job. Now, if we'll just hold that all through the year. By the end of the year, we'll be looking good, right?
I see it as looking good now.
It is looking
You
good.
are where you should be.
It
so
is.
this is good news. Any questions?
Thank you, Marion. Tommy, you have any questions for Marion?
No questions, Mr. Chair. Just merely thanks for putting the information together for us to look at. And thanks to every department head. To me, it's the end result of a real good team working well together. Like a good team of horses. So I just want to thank everybody, buddy.
Thanks, Tommy. Tim?
Yes, what a team to work together and to get things how we want to project and everybody working together for the same goal. How sweet it is. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Marion and Mary and all the department heads, all of you. This is good, and we'll just keep on track and keep after it, huh, James? Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you so much for doing this. This really helps us, I know, for seeing this and hearing it.
And then this will be saved so that we can put it in the 2021 budget book or 2022 budget book, so that it'll be saved for posterity, so people can look back and see the success of the leadership team and the hard work that's been done at the department level.
Good. Thank you, Marion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
wanted to acknowledge that we had several discussions here as a county board of supervisors on several occasions when COVID came up, had discussions about what are the impacts and what are the things going to happen because of COVID. And so based on guidance leadership from the board of supervisors, we put certain things into effect and enacted certain things that is driving these savings. So I appreciate the leadership of the board standing up, saying we need to address this significant event that could has the opportunity to really impact us negatively. And so because of your leadership, we are on track and we're going forward at the ways that we discussed and the way that you directed us to go. So thank you, board members.
Thank you, James. I appreciate that. The virus we were dealt with, that left us a lot of unknowns going into this year. And so, yeah, I really thank all of you for all the hard work everybody's doing too on this, and it's going to work out just fine. We'll be good. So thank you, James. Okay, moving on to number 3, regular agenda items. Information, discussion, action to approve an agreement between San Carlos Apache Tribe and Gila County for Sheriff's Office employee services at various roadblocks along Highway 70 within the exterior boundaries of the San Carlos Apache Reservation for the purpose of providing police-related services, including security, beginning May 19th, 2020 through June 22nd, 2020, unless extended by the parties. Sarah White. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. So this agreement is just like it states with the San Carlos Apache Tribe. It is, they reached out to us in May when COVID was kind of hitting out there, and they wanted to do some security and some roadblocks and close some things down, and asked us if we would be able to help them man those. Initially, they asked us for a total of 6 officers, and what we agreed upon is we would send them what staffing would allow. Since May, we've been sending them 1 to 2, and they are doing it, the officers, the deputies are doing it on their days off, so it is overtime above what their regular shift is. We have been extending this agreement, and it is still in place currently today. So, do you have any questions for me?
Thank you, Sarah. Tommy, do you have any questions?
I do not, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank Sarah. I don't know if I had a chance otherwise on this. And looking just at the, I think, increased workload of that outfit, I really appreciate them. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Tommy. Tim?
Yeah, my hat's off to the officers for taking on extra time to help the community. And so that's my only comment.
Thank you all. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks,
Thank
Sheriff.
you.
Appreciate it. And you too, Mike. And we'll see what time brings. So really appreciate it. With that, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve an agreement between San Carlos Apache Tribe, Gila County, for Sheriff's Office Employee Services.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Sarah. Number B, information discussion action to approve the use of a cooperative purchasing agreement between the Mojave Educational Services Cooperative and Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated, contract number 17T-Kimley-0510, in an amount not to exceed $124,049, and authorize the chairman's signature on the contract agreement for Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated to provide design services and plans, specifications, and an estimate for construction regarding the Payson Regional Drainage Project. Darren Frank. Good morning, Darren.
Good morning, Chair and Board of Supervisors. This is an agenda item that will allow the engineer, Kimley Horn, to provide 100% design for the regional drainage project that's up at the Gila County, new Gila County Community Complex in Payson. Previously, under the city manager's signature, we've gotten to 30% design in order to get a feeling what the cost estimate is going to be for the future. We've shared that with the town of Payson. They feel comfortable moving forward. Although that cost did come in over the initial 50-50 budget with the town of Payson, that kind of stuff happens when you do 30% design. We're looking at moving forward with 100% design in order to do some value engineering and cost cutting to get it back down to a budget that we can all live with. The original IGA that we signed in April with the town limited design costs to $75,000. The cost to deliver this final design outlined in the scope and fee document is $81,209, with an additional $42,840 for construction administration if the project moves forward. That totals at $124,049, and once again, that cost will be split 50-50 with the town of Payson.
Thank you, Darren. Tommy, you have any questions?
I do not, Mr. Chair. Just glad we're coming right along with the project.
Thank you, Tommy. Tim?
Yeah, I have some questions, but I would like to ask for Mr. Minlov's input on the increase and the moving forward with this project. That will be fine. Yes, thank you.
Chairman and board members, good morning.
Good morning.
It is a great day today for our country. We have made it very clear to the town of Payson that we have $500,000 that we can spend. Okay, and so we had estimated that the engineering cost was going to be $75,000. It turns out that it's $82,000. We estimated and put a cap on it in the IGA that we would cap it at 75, and that's why we're here with the board. First of all, you need to approve something that's 82,000. Okay, we have in the cost that we're bringing to you, it includes construction administration. That cost doesn't take place until the construction takes place. Our contribution to the project will be $500,000. We have expressed that to the town of Payson. When we get estimates of construction, they're higher than the $1 million that we had estimated. The town is looking at projects that they can push back into next year to free up money. We don't know what the final cost of the design is, and so we would like to proceed with what the final cost of the construction is. So we would like to proceed with the design so that we can see, and while we're designing, we do cost reduction. For example, animal shelter, when it was first envisioned, was $4.2 million. When we hired the construction people and they gave us the first estimate, it was like $3.5 million. When we finished the work, the actual construction came in less than $2.5 million. $2.8 million. And that's what happens when a team works together to take a project and they're designing it and looking for cost reduction. But again, our commitment to the town is $500,000. Whether it's 75,000 of that is for design or 82,000 of that doesn't really matter. It's the difference today. The difference for construction is 500,000 minus 82,000. And that's what's left for construction. And anything over the total of $1 million, 500 from us and 500 from the town, will have to be provided by the town. Now, this project is challenging. So we may spend this design money and find out that it wasn't doable, that it's not doable. We'll be checking it along the way. We've got, actually the design would take place in the next 4 weeks. So halfway through, we'll do another sanity check on the cost. And if it's beyond our ability to bring it into what the town can afford, maybe we call it a day at that point. But more than likely, we're probably going to take it to 100% design and then go out for quotes with that. Right now, we went out for quotes on a conceptual design, something that shows 3 lines and describes what we're trying to do. And every time you go out for quotes with this conceptual designs, the contractors, they really don't know what you're going to be, the specification that you're going to be detailing at the end. So they add some contingency. And what the 100% design does, it does away with the contingency. They can exactly specify a cost based on what you're asking them to do. And that's kind of like where we're at. I don't know, Supervisor Humphrey, if I approached your question in any way or shape or form, but that's kind of like where we're at with the project. And in every, we design things sometimes not having an idea of cost. Here, we thought we had an idea, but what you encounter in the ground, and there are a lot of obstructions, is sometimes an unknown, and that's where we're at.
Homero, thank you very, very much, not only for your input of information today, but for your input in this project as it has started and gone forward. I thank you very much for your involvement with it. And I do believe it's a worthwhile project. I guess I was just kind of questioning, was it a worthwhile enough project to go forward with these expenses? And thank you very much for your input.
You might as well just stay right there, Homero. Save yourself some steps. Thank you, Tim. So it could be possible we could stick $80,000 into this project and this project not go forward then, right, Homero?
We would be paying for half of that, yes.
And pardon me?
Yes, we would be paying for half of that, and the town would be paying for the other half. Yes,
They'd
that's
split
true.
that cost in
Yes.
with us, so we wouldn't bear the whole $80,000 or $81,000.
We would pay for 50% of it.
Do we have? Is the way I heard Darren say the town's talking about pushing this back to next year with the idea of having an easier time of financing it? Is that what I gather?
No. This project has to go. The town needs to find the money in this current fiscal cycle, because we are almost ready to start construction of the building, and a delay to the construction of that building could potentially add cost. So we're trying to keep it within approximately the schedule that we had proposed. My expectation would be that one or the other starts in January of next year, which is this current fiscal cycle. Mm-hmm. That either the regional drainage starts in January or the construction of the building starts in January. That would be the goal that we're chasing.
I agree with Tim. I think this is a good project as long as it'll happen and we keep it within our $500,000. I think that would be a winner. I'm hearing some unknowns in your voices when you're talking about this project, so that's why I was asking. But anyway, James?
Mr. Chairman, last week or week before, we had a ribbon cutting ceremony at the new health facility. Beautiful building, and health department as of Thursday is starting to move all our equipment from the old place and everything. So they should, within a week, today and tomorrow, 2 days. So They're ready to open up for business on Monday at the health building. That's meaning it'll be vacated and ready to move on. We've leased the other facility at Twin Pines, and I think we need to put some carpet in there, or sign a contract in the last week to get the carpeting repaired, fixed, and ready to go. But that should be within,
Carpeting's actually done. They're moving in as we speak.
okay, carpet's done, we're moving in. So those buildings that are there on that northwest corner of our county property are vacated as of next week. We can demolish those and begin to move forward. So I guess my question in laying all that out is, what does that do with all of our timetable of, it's going to take, I heard 4 weeks to do the design, full design, or is that longer than that? And then what does the timetable look for if we do the regional drainage, and then when do we start on the multi-purpose facility?
So, yeah, demolition will be starting, of those buildings will be hopefully starting on the 16th or the week of the 16th of this month. We'll be moving everybody out. If it takes the 4 weeks for design, we're going to have to give the construction company a number of weeks in order to go out to subcontractors for GMP, and then we will be bringing it back to you and the town board for approval. We're shooting for mid to late January for a start of the regional development services, or regional drainage project. And if that goes, then we would start, as the dominoes fall, we would start the building project on site in probably March. If regional drainage fails to go forward, then we will start the building in mid to late January.
Go ahead, James.
What is the town's position, and what is their process to be able to approve this? When do you think that they can or will be able to approve when we get the final cost? That's early December. When will we know if they are going to come up with funding?
Well, we've been juggling dates with them and looking at their schedule for their meetings and then our schedule for meetings. We're hoping mid-December, by the time we can get them and then back here for you for final approval on this.
So we're shooting for mid-December for a town to make final decision on whether they'll fund that or not. To know if we're going to proceed. It takes a few weeks for them to mobilize. We're using Core Construction, the same one's going to construct our facility, so they can essentially move in and start doing whatever they can, perhaps for both projects.
Possibly.
But mainly the drainage to start with.
County Manager Manlove and Chairman, board members, December 3rd is the target that we have for the design to be complete with Kimberly Horn. I think that's a Monday. Design will be complete. At that point, Core Construction, under a state contract, we would be coming back to the board. When Core Construction would go out and get quotes. If we give them 2 weeks, that's a short amount of time. You don't get as good of prices if you shorten the time. If I give you a date to give me a quote, well, you're gonna have a contingency in there. So we want to give them 3 weeks. Gets us to the end of December. And both the town, we've asked the town if they can have a special meeting so that they can get in front of their town council early January. And we would be doing the same thing here. We would be looking for the first board meeting in January. And at that point, Core can start construction of regional drainage the next day. Okay? And that's our plan. And this is a project that we're now down to the final wire here on making things happen. And we have been working it every day. We work this every day because we want to start one or the other in January. That's the goal. And hopefully we can do both of them.
So I'll get to you in just a minute, James. Homer, Darren, so when if this all goes through and we can do the regional drainage, once it starts, is it going to have to be completed before our building gets started, or is there a certain stage in there that they'll be able to jump in there and start ours too?
Chairman and board members, Core Construction is working on that. What they've shared with us is they'd like to see how they can work both of them at the same time. And I'll be okay with that as long as they keep the cost completely separate. But that would be, I think, a benefit to both projects if they can do the work. They're even exploring, can they do both at the same time? And we're going to be talking about that. We haven't determined that. There's a risk to doing both at the same time. More for the building than for regional drainage. And so I kind of lean on if there's risk on something to the building, then I prefer not to do that. So actually we have a meeting with them this Thursday to talk about the timeline.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, you got anything else?
I don't, other than I love these partnerships,
James?
It's nice to pull the trigger, but you got somebody else on the other side that's got to do it too.
Right.
Go ahead, James.
Mr. Chairman, I did want to point out that the whole purpose for this is that ADOT has looked at a drainage. It's been an issue, been a problem for that area. And doing a drainage down 87, in addition to the time of tearing up the highway, that's a $5 million plus project in doing that. This is a way to address it at a much reduced cost, saving taxpayer dollars. So it can be benefit to all of us here in Gila County, particularly in the north. But that is what the alternative and why the city is pushing and wants to move forward on this project.
Sure. I see the benefits to it for sure. Holidays will be over. We'll be into the new year. So that would work out good. Unfortunately, we'll be in the middle of winter time. So, and hopefully there's snow on the ground.
Yeah, these 90-degree days in the middle of November.
Yeah. Okay. So you good, James? You got more? You're good? Darren, thank you. Thank you, Homero. Tim, you have a motion?
Mr. Chair, with that, I'll make a motion. I move to approve the use of a cooperative purchasing agreement between the Mojave Educational Services Cooperative and Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated, contract number 17T-Kimley0510, in the amount not to exceed $125,049, and authorize the chairman's signature on the contract agreement for Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Tommy. Having a motion and a second. All in favor, do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Okay, moving on to C. Information, discussion, action to approve a request submitted by the Gila County Public Health Department that the annual fees for the calendar year 2021 environmental health permits for businesses directly affected by the governor's COVID-19 benchmark operational restrictions be reduced by 25%. Michael O'Driscoll. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So as you know, COVID-19 has had a tremendous financial impact for those licensed food facilities around Gila County. It's hit them fairly hard. They've had to close down. They've had to close their doors. They've had to implement procedures that the governor has indicated they must follow to reduce the number of customers in their facility. So they've been hit very hard. And recently we were awarded $25,000 by the health department at the state level to continue with what we're already doing. So that $25,000 was to pay for some additional costs we may have had to send out our sanitarians to handle complaint calls at food facilities, educational calls, those kinds of things. My staff have all banded together, and we've been able to handle those additional calls in our daily activities without any additional cost to our department. So what I am proposing is we're to take that $25,000 and to apply it to the food facilities that have been most impacted by the governor's executive orders to reduce their licensing fee. So you really don't hear this too often, to have me come in front of you and say, let's reduce the fee, but this is special circumstances, and this is going to impact our budget $0. We're going to be able to be within our allocated budget, and we're going to be able to give 25% discount to the licensing fee to those facilities that we've identified that have been hurt most directly by COVID-19. So this is sort of a good news situation here, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Michael. Tommy, you have any questions?
No questions, Mr. Chair. I'd like to thank Michael and his crew for being on top of these things. COVID is, I think, just getting ready to turn the corner and give them a whole lot more work to do and gifts. And Michael, I see it coming at us, and I really thank you for what you guys have geared up for and will have to gear up for. And in reaching out and helping the businesses, I think it's just a brilliant next step in this program. Thank you much.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Thank you, Tommy. Tim?
Yeah, just thank you very much, because our small businesses have been hit really, really hard. And that's the backbone of us. And so being able to help them in some of their licensing and licensing costs, thank you very, very much for taking that on and offering it to those people. So great job.
Oh, you're
Great
welcome,
job.
Supervisor.
Same for me, Michael. What do you think of these benchmarks, though, that we keep dealing with? Are they ever going to drop to where we can...
So they keep changing them on us. And from week to week, we're not really sure sometimes. There's benchmarks for the businesses, the bars, there's benchmarks for the schools, and now there's benchmarks for school athletics. So there's all these benchmarks out there, but for the licensed food facilities in Gila County, particularly the bars that don't serve food, those benchmarks are pretty hard to meet to open full capacity. As a matter of fact, even if they're in the green, they're only allowed to open to 50% capacity. So those benchmarks are fairly rigid for those types of operations, which is why it's not a lot, but it's something that at least we can offer them to help out, their operating expenses.
Because I keep watching this, the benchmarks every time we get the reports and all that, and going out, and I kind of get lost between one and the other. It's back and forth, but I'm sitting there looking at the time frame. A lot of these businesses have been totally shut down. I can't help but wonder if they're even going to open up. If it even gets to where they can, even at 50%. I mean, to me, it seems like this is just dragging on and on and on.
It is, and one of the concerns I have is how many businesses, and we're going to be able to put together a list. If the board approves this measure, we will start sending out our annual permit fee licensing notifications, and by the end of December, we will figure out who's been shut down voluntarily and who hasn't. So we'll have a good list probably by the end of December, and I could come in front of the board and share that list at that particular time. So the benchmarks are very rigid for the food facilities. In particular, like I said, the bars that don't have a food operation in there. It's hard. It's very difficult. I don't see in a foreseeable future that they'll meet the benchmarks to be in the green, because it's 3% positivity rate or lower, and we're not going to hit that anytime soon in the state.
No, it doesn't look like it. So thank you, Michael. Thank you for doing this. It's a good thing. That I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to reduce the fees by 25% for calendar year 2021 environmental health permits for businesses directly affected by the governor's COVID-19 benchmark operational restrictions.
Mr. Chair, I second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
3D, information discussion action to approve amendment number 1 to contract number 070120020-21 between the Arizona Community Action Association, DBA Wildfire, and the Gila County Community Services Department, whereby utility repair, replacement, deposit, URRD funds will increase by $75,000 for a total allocation of $86,410, and amendment number 2, whereby APS Crisis Bill Assistance Funds will increase by $6,110 for a total allocation of $30,050, and URRD funds will increase by $25,000 for a total allocation of $111,410, which will be used to provide weatherization services, utility repair and replacement, utility deposits, and bill assistance to eligible citizens residing in Gila County for the period of July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning, Chairman, and members of the board. That was quite a lengthy description. These are actually 3 amendments to the wildfire overall contract that we have. The original contract that started in July gave us a piddly amount of about $10,000, and so I picked up the phone and have been lobbying hard for extra dollars, and you see that before you today. Because of the heat and the smoke that's happened in Gila County, our requests for help with coolers and AC, and coolers just weren't cutting it for some of our seniors with breathing issues or low-income community with breathing issues. And so we saw a real uptick in our requests for assistance. So I lobbied hard, and we have got these extra dollars that are going to help us. And we have some extra APS crisis bill assistance. Although our electric company, APS, is not shutting anybody off, we are working with them to do specific door hangers on people that haven't been, and probably because of the COVID, haven't been paying their electric bills, because we have been seeing some electric bills, because they haven't paid them, up to, we saw one the other day for $1,200. So they get so high we can't hardly help them. So we've asked for extra assistance in that, and that's what you see before you today.
Melissa, thank you. It's good to see an increase instead of a decrease. So thank you so
Right.
much. Tommy, you have anything you want to say to this?
Oh, I just want to thank Melissa. And honey, I can't imagine you doing anything but lobbying hard for something. And I so appreciate it when you do. Thanks, my dear.
Thank you, Tommy. Tim?
Yeah, no, just thank you, Melissa, for helping those in need.
Absolutely, Melissa. Good job. I'm really glad to see that. That's a lot better. So, Tim, you have a motion?
I do. I move to approve amendment number 1 and 2 to contract number 0701-2020-2021, -21, between the Arizona Community Action Association, DBA Wildfire, and the Gila County Community Service Department.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. On to E, information, discussion, action to approve amendment number 1 to funding agreement number 214-20 between the Arizona Department of Housing and the Gila County Community Services Department. Housing services to provide an increase of $6,344 in administrative funds and $72,850 in project funds for a total of $79,194 in low-income home energy assistance program LIHEAP CARES Act funding to be used to provide weatherization services to eligible citizens residing in Gila County for the period of July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Melissa, you're it again.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the board. This extra funding is under the CARES Act funding. It comes in through Department of Economic Security, then they contract with Arizona Department of Housing for this LIHEAP funding. So we got extra LIHEAP utility assistance under CAP, and then what you see today is under the weatherization program. So
Thank you, Melissa. Tommy, questions or comments?
I don't, Mr. Chair, just saying this before.
Thank you, Tommy. Tim?
Yeah, no, I have no comment other than thank you, Melissa.
So, Melissa, on all this money that you've gotten an increase in and all that and this, is that going to be able to cover all the people that you get requests for? Or is there a percentage that you're just not going to be able to do?
We have a longer waiting list than we've ever had in the 28 years or so that I've been around. Our waiting list for weatherization right now is at 3.5 years.
Really?
Based on an average of what we do a year. So what we're trying to do, and that's what that other funding showed you, was we're trying to like put a Band-Aid on an emergency, either cooling or heating or something. Those ERD utility dollars give us that that way to Band-Aid the emergency and then come in behind with weatherization at some point. So that's a $3,000. So that ERD funding you saw in the previous item, that's up to $3,000 that we can use towards a house for cooling or heating or water pipe busts if we get cold enough in the winter, that type of stuff. And then we kind of keep them on hold, so to speak, and then we come in with the weatherization and do a more holistic approach to that. If at that point they need rehab, major rehab, then we put them on hold after the weatherization and do that rehab as we get further down the line.
Okay, that's good information. Maybe sometime after today, you'll sit down and visit some more.
Okay, all right.
I'd appreciate that.
Yes.
Do you have a motion, Tim?
I do, but first I have maybe a question. Melissa, with the increase that you just had informed us of, do you think that major increase is due to lack of income levels or lack of job opportunities?
On our list?
Yes.
The increase on our list? I do
Yes.
think it is. I do think it's income and the condition of the houses has been hit pretty hard. And so
the older
over
homes
the
and
summer,
lack of income?
we were a few months into the COVID, and people that were making it now, because they're not working, they've been hurting a bit. So
Yeah, I just try to look at the bigger picture, and I love helping
Right.
these people, but I would like to try to see why we have such an increase and maybe what we need to start looking at to maybe reduce that increase with jobs or things of that nature.
So here's another element that I'm not quite sure if it's true, but I've been thinking about this, that we've gotten better publicity through Facebook and Paul and that. So I believe that there's a possibility, and APS is helping us with door hangers for weatherization services. If you have a leaky house or you're running really high bills, sign up for weatherization services. So that could be in addition to a population, a bigger low-income population.
So what you're saying is we're finally getting the word out.
Yes,
And people have been needing help but didn't know help was available.
right.
Okay.
Which that makes sense to me, I guess. I mean, I could see where that would happen.
Well,
It's been a frustrating point for me that sometimes CAP and weatherization is the best kept secret. I've been out here working it for years, and I guess if people don't know about it, they don't ask about it. Or
Right.
I'm not real sure.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, Tommy.
Mr. Chair, that was a question. That was also a question of mine to Melissa, that she has been involved so long. What else do we do? Do you have any thoughts on how we can better get the word out? Any thoughts?
Well, as I said before, Facebook has certainly helped us. I think this last 3 or 4 years, or 3 years, we've been getting a lot more on Facebook, and so I believe that helps. And maybe APS giving us the door hangers and putting it in the bills, the information. I think the publicity is grown. So
Well, I'm also thinking just the social media. Is there any other avenue that's also well suited for this that we don't take advantage of well enough?
I'm not sure if there's anything else short of, because we're in the paper now, both papers, and we're featured on that. Paul does a great job with that, and it's consistent. You know, so sometimes we would have ads in the paper, but with we're more consistent at this point as far as getting information out there.
Right.
So,
Right.
Tommy and you guys, maybe this is something after today, somewhere along the way when it fits, we put it into a work session, and we kind of explore different
Right.
ways
That works.
of getting it out there, and
Yep.
and
Yep. Because this may not be the only area that we need to think about how we get the word out better too.
right,
So,
and we look
Okay.
at financing and stuff. So thank you, Melissa. Thank you for all that. Tim?
Yeah, thank you very much. And with that, I will do a motion. I move to approve amendment number 1 to funding agreement number 214-20 between the Arizona Department of Housing and Gila County Community Services Department Housing Services.
second, Mr. Chair.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you, Melissa.
Moving on to F, information, discussion, action to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Pinal County Youth Justice Center to house and treat Gila County detained juveniles for the period January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, with automatic one-year renewals up to 9 years per Arizona Revised Statute 11-952J. And we have Mary Springer and Steve Lassard. Good morning, you guys.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members, supervisors. I do see our chief probation officer sitting up there at the table, the masked man, and so I would like him to take over the presentation.
Sure. Welcome, Steve.
Good morning. Do you want me to go first, Mary?
Yes, please go ahead, Steve.
Okay. Mr. Supervisor and members of the board, on behalf of the Judicial Branch and presiding juvenile judge Brian Chambers, we are asking again the board to approve the IGA with Pinal County Youth Justice Center. I want to just give a 2-minute update on how far we've come in the past 3 years since we've closed the detention center. Our budget in 2017 for the detention center in Globe was almost $1.4 million. Last fiscal year, we spent $136,000 detaining youth. We spent $168,000 detaining youth in fiscal year 19 and less than $100,000 in fiscal year 18. So we are saving it. We have about a 90% savings in closing that detention center, and we're saving the county hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we're still serving the community by protecting the community from those juveniles that still need to be detained. There's kind of a good news and bad news scenario. I think it's all good news. By the end, I'll tell you why. We've been paying $170 a day for youth to be detained. Effective January 1 of 21, that rate is going to go to $300 a day. And January 1 of 2022, it's going to go to $347 a day. However, Judge Chambers and I have really worked out a really creative and innovative way to not increase the cost of detention. And we've been about $50,000 below budget every year with regard to the cost of daily incarceration. So we intend to continue to do that. Judge Chambers and I, we're going to experiment and not necessarily pilot, but start doing it in January. Use home detention and through the use of ankle monitoring in lieu of detention. So I can pay about $7 a day to keep the kid at home on house arrest with an ankle monitor in lieu of $300 a day detaining them in the detention center. So I think we're going to save a ton of money, even with the increase in the daily rate from Pinal County Justice Center. Now, we've got a kid in there now that's pretty dangerous, and we're not going to put a kid on home arrest and on ankle monitoring if there's a public safety risk. So we're still going to have to use Pinal County Detention Center, but I think a lot of our kids are going to be on house arrest. We're going to be watching them and monitoring them through ankle monitoring. That way they get to stay in school, they get to stay connected to their family, and we can send counselors into the home to work with the family instead of just working with the youth in a detention center. So with that, we're also looking at the possible use of the Yavapai County Detention Center, possibly mid-year next year. When our rate goes to $347 a day, if we have a kid that needs to be detained for a considerable amount of time, we may be asking the board to approve an additional IGA with Yavapai County, who will give us a lower rate of $250 a day. So what we would do is we would use Yavapai County for our northern Gila County kids and any kid that is serving a term of detention. We had a kid that instead of going to the Department of Juvenile Corrections, the judge decided to keep him in detention until he turned 18, and that was a 3-month stay in detention. In a case like that, we would transport that kid to the Yavapai County Detention Center and only use Pinal County for those short stays if we feel that we need to. So we've got a plan B if we have kids post-COVID that are going to be detained at higher rates. But for right now, we have a really good plan to keep kids out of detention. We're going to use ankle monitoring, and we're going to stay under budget. So it's my recommendation that this IGA be approved, and we're going to continue to be good stewards of taxpayer money. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. That's good.
And Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything more to add except that it has been reviewed and signed off by our presiding judge.
Thanks, Mary. Tommy, you have any questions?
No, Mr. Chair, just to thank them for constantly looking at better and cheaper ways of having the same good quality care.
You bet. Tim?
Yeah, you know, in this discussion, I hate for our youth to be a budget matter. And how sweet it is for you guys to look at other opportunities to, like the ankle bracelets, to work with home arrest and have counselors work with the youth and the family. I think that's a great deal. And maybe budget's what drove that, but the ability to be able to, like you didn't call it a pilot program, but I'm sure that the effectiveness of that will show. And so I think it's great that you guys have come up with that to help our youth, not only our budget. And if that's all, Mr. Chair, I'll give a motion.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it, and thanks, Chief, for that, and thank you, Mary. I'm ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Pinal County Youth Justice Center to house and treat Gila County detained juveniles as presented.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, you two. On to G, information action discussion to approve the budgeted and unbudgeted interfund transfers for fiscal year 2020. Maren, more money matters.
We've got to do the spray dance first. Okay, so we have on the agenda today for your approval the budgeted and unbudgeted interfund transfers. According to the Arizona Revised Statute, we bring these to the board. We have attached the proposed entry. Mr. Menlove has reviewed it for us. It is not in the system yet, though. We wanted to make sure that we presented it. There's also an attachment from Public Works. We wanted to make sure that we brought that to you also. And one of the things that this will do that we haven't been doing consistently for the past couple of years is it will make sure that any funds that had a deficit balance at the end of 2020 don't show that in the financial statements, that we true those up. And that was why we wanted to make sure that we brought this today and had this discussion. And with your permission, we will go ahead and get those entered. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Marion. Tommy, you have any questions?
Just thank Larry for the explanation. Thanks, Mary.
And Tim?
No questions.
Okay.
James, do you have anything to add to this?
Mr. Chairman, it is a lot of work for them to do this. The way the Gila County accounting system was originally set up was it creates additional work for Marin and Mary and her staff to do all of this. And we're continuing to look to simplify these types of things, but our audits have been the priority. We are still looking at having our 2019 audit out in a matter of weeks, and that 2020 out by the end of March. So on track with that. They're just doing a fantastic job. But these are all, it's just a lot of work, and so I express appreciation for all the effort to put into this and get all of our accounts and everything trued up and straightened out. So thank you.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Marion. I appreciate that. I'll entertain a motion, Tim.
I move to approve the budgeted and unbudgeted interfund transfers for fiscal year 2020.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Marion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
On to H, information, discussion, action to approve the chairman's signature on the letter dated November 3rd, 2020, to the chairman of the Yavapachi Nation Tribal Council requesting assistance with improvements to the Bob Bear Trail at Fossil Creek, and this one's mine. And so just a little update. Not too long ago, I met with the Forest Service, Chairman John Huey from the Yavapachis, and we had some sheriff's office there. Chief Gary Morris was there, me and Kathy, and there's another gentleman there that does work on these trails. The Bob Bear Trail is the trail that we've had the most problems with as far as rescues. That's the one that has caused our rescue people a lot of time and hassles getting off in there to pull people out. And so we talked about that, and the way it looks right now is the Yavapai Apaches are willing to take this to their council and see if their council would help us push this forward to the Forest Service. The Forest Service was there that day. They looked at it also with us and was in agreement to do something with this trail, at least down to the wilderness boundary at the bottom, and which would cut out a lot of our rescuers' time. And what that would mean is it'd be fixed up to a standard that they could get a side-by-side down. It'd be gated at the top, so not everybody will have access. It's only during times of emergency, and they would be able to get in there and pull people out when they can't make it, rather than putting them on a litter and pushing them and dragging them and everything else out of there. And so this would be a huge plus for Tunnel Search and Rescue, the fire departments, and our county sheriff's department. So with that, I do have a copy of the letter that was wrote, and I want to thank Chief Morris for drafting it and Kathy for putting it together, the final touches, and putting it all together on that. But I will read this just real quick, and I know the people on YouTube may or may not see it, so I'll read it real quick, and then we'll go from there. It's addressed to Chairman Huey, and here's what it says. Thank you for joining me and public safety officials for a briefing on the public safety issue in Fossil Creek on October 9th, 2020, along with a visit to the Bob Bear Trail at Fossil Creek. We all appreciate your interest in working with us to resolve these serious issues regarding our rescue efforts and the improvements needed on the trail to be able to provide a more expedient response to medical emergencies. The purpose of this letter is to request assistance from the Yavapai Apache Nation Tribal Council to allow the Bob Bear Trail to be improved to allow UTV side-by-side vehicle access to the trail by public safety agencies. The trail is really old, two-track road constructed by the Forest Service in 1962. The road has deteriorated over the years due to the lack of maintenance and needs some repairs. Such emergency access by only public safety agencies will reduce the current 5 to 7 hour rescue effort to about 90 minutes. The reduction in time will provide a better outcome for patients that could face additional health issues due to the length of time it takes responders to arrive on scene. The 5 to 7 hour rescue missions remove Gila County Sheriff's deputies from patrol duties elsewhere in the county, and Pine and Strawberry Fire District paramedics from protecting their communities from long periods of time. We are proposing that the trail improvements be kept to a 62-inch width that will allow the passage of a side-by-side vehicle used only for rescue efforts. The narrow width will not accommodate full-size vehicles such as pickup trucks. Only public safety vehicle access will be permitted on the Bob Bear Trail. In addition, a lock gate will be installed to prevent any public vehicle access. In closing, the rapid emergency response and extradition of patients suffering a medical emergency in Fossil Creek is a major factor in saving lives and reducing long-term effects from an injury. The Gila County Board of Supervisors look forward to working with the Yavapai Nation Tribal Council in solving this public crisis. And so this hopefully will make it in front of the Tribal Council, and with their support, it would continue on to the Forest Service. Now, one thing I didn't say was the guy that was with us that day, and he's got a business that's going around and prepping these trails, hiking trails and other trails. He's got a little piece of equipment, and he does a lot of work. He's willing to do this for nothing, at no cost to anybody right now. And so it would be really good to see this done. It was a really neat day. We learned a lot of history about that Bob Bear Trail that we didn't know. We had an archaeologist with us that day also, who was a real fun guy. So it was good. Any questions? Tommy, you have any questions?
Mr. Chair, I just have some comments. I want to thank you for getting it this far. I know it's not over the finish line yet. It's taken many years to get here and many side trails to take, which included having to rename the trail so it didn't have the word springs in it. So folks didn't take that trail expecting to see water when there was no water to be had on it. I particularly want to thank Chief Morris, who just simply has bird dogged it. And I want to thank the Sheriff's Department and the Search and Rescue for their hand in this. And when and if we get it over the finish line, I would like to have Paul or somebody put together a story just about the effort. I think there's things to be learned there. It's like the Tunnel Creek Bridge. There's a story to be learned there that would profit folks in the future to know what it took to get here. But again, Woody, back to you. Thanks for following through on this.
You bet, Tommy. No problem. Tim?
Yeah, no, just thanks for everybody to work together. I think it's a time that we've worked hard to get teams together, and it's great to see everybody come together for the betterment of the constituents and the people that visit here. So, job well done.
Well, thanks. And with that, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the chairman's signature on the letter dated November 3rd, 2020 to the chairman of the Yavapai Apache Nation Tribal Council as presented.
I'll second, Mr. Chair.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. On to I. Information, discussion, action to consider a sealed bid for the purchase of assessor's tax parcel number 101-07-185A, and if accepted, authorize the chairman's signature on the quitclaim deed. Marion Shepherd.
Thank you, Chairman Klein and board members. In 2006, the Gila County Treasurer deeded this property over to the state of Arizona care of the Board of Supervisors. It did not sell at the annual auction, and it's pretty much been sitting on a list of available properties for sale ever since then. This property is a hillside off of Hillside Drive in Hayden, and the total lien amount on the parcel is $2,811.60. We do have a bid from an adjoining landowner, and it's someone you'll recognize. Again, it's Corey Lee Busboom. He recently bought 2 other properties, and his goal is, if the board accepts his bid, to just fix up all the properties and then go to the assessor to have them combined. And I think he wants to make a rental property. So may I open
You
the
bet,
bid?
Marion.
Thank you. I have a bid for tax parcel number 101-07-185A from Corey Lee Busboom in the amount of $370.
Thank you, Marion.
You're welcome.
Tommy, any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, you know I thoroughly love it when we can get this land back on the tax rolls. And I just appreciate Marion's works at this all the time. And I appreciate it. Thanks, Marion.
Thank you, Tommy. Yeah, she does. Yeah, Missy's right in the middle of it, too. Tim?
Yeah, I just think it's a great deal because blight is a big thing with me, and to have some of these homeless properties come to us and get homes is just really thrilling to me.
I'm the same.
So if you're ready, I'll make a motion.
I am ready.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept a bid from Corey Bushbaum in the amount of $370 for the purchase of assessor tax parcel number 101-07-185A.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Marion. Number 4, consent agenda action items. Any matter on the consent agenda will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed and voted upon as a regular agenda item upon the request of any member of the Board of Supervisors. Either of you two want to take anything off or talk about anything?
Not me, Mr. Chair.
No, I'm fine, Mr. Chair.
And I am as well, so I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent agenda items 4A through 4H.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Number 5, call to the public. Cheryl, do we have anybody up there for call to the public?
No, but just to let you know, Gary was here in case you had any questions. He just left.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Cheryl.
Uh-huh.
And I see none here. So moving on that to number 6. Do we have any updates, Tommy?
I don't, Mr. Chair, just same old, same old. I'm going to be, on the one hand, glad when today is over. And secondly, I dread what's coming next. So that's probably it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Tommy. Tim?
No, I'm good. I'm gonna leave well enough alone today.
I agree with Tommy. I'll be glad when today's over, that's for sure. I only have a couple things, and on September 27th, I presented at the Globe Council meeting with an IGA for the Globe Cemetery, cleanup and restoration. Me and Councilman Mike Stapleton, Vice Mayor, I guess, Mike Stapleton, have partnered on this, and so I'm looking forward to working with those guys on that. It was a good meeting. On September 28th, I had a workforce board meeting, a really good meeting. One of the things that came out of that is we will be working on a performance evaluation for the director of that board. And so we will be putting that together here in the next week or so, a couple weeks, I guess it is. So I'm looking forward to that, and so is she. You know, it's good to be recognized for good things and bad things, I guess. So we'll be working on putting that together. It'll be really good. With that, that's all I had. James?
Nothing further from me today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, James. So with that, I guess there's nothing else. We'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you all.